Hey, welcome to episode 23 of Bonfire Man.
Here's how Bonfire Man works. I'm locked to specific chunks in the game. I have to interact with everything in my unlocked chunks exactly once. So that means every tree needs to be chopped, every enemy needs to die, every resource needs to be consumed. When I interact with something, it is exhausted. When something is exhausted, that means I'm not allowed to interact with it again. I'm allowed to randomly unlock a new chunk whenever all of the entities in my current chunks have been so exhausted. When I enter a new chunk, I rest at a bonfire, as in the Souls games. Resting at a bonfire refreshes or unexhausts all of the content in previous chunks that I've already been to. Now I have to exhaust all entities in both the old and new chunks to continue to progress. My objective is to unlock every chunk in RuneScape. According to my estimates, I think that's going to take about 10,000 hours to complete. If you're interested in all the specifics, minutiae, minor rules, exceptions, that kind of a thing, there's a Google Doc in the description that lists all of that. Let's go ahead and get to the playthrough.
All right, so we've had the luckiest chunk roll ever. I will show you my chunk roll history in case you don't believe me, because that's insanely lucky. We rolled North Draynor right when I had the resources I needed. I just got an agility potion, and I am level 7 agility, so I can use that potion to boost and do the Draynor agility course, which I've been looking forward to for many, many hours. 11 days and 14 hours, as it were. I got a lot to do today, and it's going to be kind of a weird order, but let's go ahead and walk to the fog wall and light the bonfire. Okay, here we are at the chunk boundary. Going to go ahead and pass through the fog wall here. Excellent, and let's light the bonfire. There it goes. Excellent. And of course we have to rest at it. Beautiful. Everything is respawned. Okay, so the main reason I'm excited about this place, there's a lot to do here. I think I actually need to add, I didn't include the wheat here, and since I think I can clear this chunk on this cycle, I should add the wheat. The thing I really care about, and I want to do before anything else, is this agility course for the first time ever. If I do it perfectly, it should take about 42 seconds, and this buff lasts about 60 seconds, so I'm really hoping that I don't fall or have to use multiple doses. In the future, if I even clear it a single time, I'll be level 8 agility, and then I don't need to worry about failing because it'll last for 2 minutes instead of 1 minute. But let's just go ahead and do it here.
Hey folks, cutting in here with the chunk objective summary. You can skip ahead in the time codes if this doesn't interest you. Like I said last episode, from now on we're just going to focus on changes from the previous episode. If you want to see the full rundown of how all of these chunks work, check out episode 22. All right, so this is the new chunk map. Let's go through each of the different categories I mentioned last time. 100% completed chunks have seen no change. We weren't able to complete any new chunks last cycle. However, I didn't mention the fact that I can exhaust the shop stock at the Varrock plank shop in the lumberyard. This isn't super useful. It just lets me buy up to 1,000 bronze and steel nails per cycle. That's probably what I'm going to use it for. But yeah, other than that, I can still deplete all the rare trees. I can still deplete the rune essence mines. Haven't started depleting pickpocketable NPCs yet. And I still haven't caught the issue with shooting stars in Lumbered Swamp East. That'll get corrected in the future. So next up is the blocked chunks. Again, no big changes here, although you'll notice that Draynor Manor is now included as a quest blocked chunk. That's because with this new North Draynor roll, we can get into Draynor Manor, but we're not going to be able to complete the chunk because we can't do animal magnetism, and we probably won't be able to do animal magnetism for a very long time because it requires visiting a lot of very distant chunks. Skill blocked chunks, same as last time. The big problems are the master stashes and adamantite rocks. Again, some of these chunks are blocked by other things too, but this is the bigger problem. Chunks blocked by items, same deal. We need a fishing rod and a fly fishing rod. And finally, chunks blocked by other chunks. Right now, that's just the Soul Wars lobby chunk. We need to get all of the adjacent chunks to chop all the trees there. Draynor Manor used to be blocked this way, but isn't anymore now that we can get in from the south. I do anticipate being able to complete the North Draynor chunk this episode. That's because Portion of Interest just barely doesn't start in this chunk. It actually starts in South Draynor. The only quest that starts in this chunk is Vampire Slayer, which we're going to be able to do. Technically, there's an easy stash in North Draynor that I need to build to call the chunk complete. I don't make that rule about stashes for a few more episodes, though. My thought is that I already had the requisite construction level to make an easy stash, so it's not a big deal that I didn't physically build it in this episode. It will get built in the future when I make that rule and go back and build all the ones that are past due, right? I could have built it trivially, I just didn't have the rule yet. Also, there is a Slayer Master in North Draynor, Spria. You have to finish Portion of Interest to interact with her. Technically, in my upcoming Slayer revamp, Slayer Masters are exhaustible. You can only do one task per Slayer Master per cycle, and all that's provided you have access to the enemies that they assign. Slayer is already by far the messiest skill that we have to worry about, and there's the added complexity that Slayer Masters block each other, that until you unlock Turiel, you can get a bad task from a bad Slayer Master, and then you can't do Slayer anymore until you unlock a specific chunk, possibly thousands of hours in the future. So I'm just going to rule that Slayer Masters don't count towards 100% chunk completion requirements. I feel like we don't need to require them anyway because it would be double dipping. Slayer monsters already block us from completing chunks, so Slayer is already being included. So whenever we 100% complete a chunk like this, we don't get to benefit from it until the next cycle. So to give you a preview of what we're going to get next cycle after completing the North Draynor chunk, there are 11 oak trees that I can chop to depletion. There is one man and one woman who eventually, when I apply the new pickpocketing rule, I'll be able to pickpocket 28 times each. And then there's an agility course ruling that I covered back in that skills ramble in episode 18. There's no way for this account to get Marks of Grace unless if I make a special ruling to allow for Marks of Grace. And my special ruling is that if an agility course exists in a 100% completed chunk, I'm able to run that course repeatedly until a Mark of Grace spawns. I can pick up the Mark of Grace, finish the lap I was on, and then I can't run any more laps for the rest of that cycle. Again, this only applies to 100% completed chunks, so for right now, the Draynor agility course is the only one that would qualify. So that's a decent boost to agility XP, but it's still not very good. Speaking as Future Marsted, it turns out that when you don't want Marks of Grace to spawn because you want to do as many laps as possible, they tend to spawn every 2 or 3 laps. But yeah, I think that's everything. Let's get back to the playthrough. Let's do this agility course for the first time.
All right, first ever agility course. Let's go quickly here. Climb. This is already amazing. Just 5 agility XP for the very first objective. Hoping I don't fall. I'm just going to record this whole thing because I get to do it once per cycle, and I'm very excited about it. I might get a level partway through, which would be really good. I am allowed to complete the course once per cycle, so if I do fall, I get to start back over, which potentially results in more agility XP. But right now, I honestly don't want to fall because I don't want to run out of this this potion. I think we got it. Amazing. Agility level 8. You can now cross the River Lum with the Mithril Grapple. We've completed 1 lap of the Draynor rooftop course, and I think I might actually be able to do the Lumbridge Easy Diary now. Let me double check. Oops, what am I missing here? Chop and burn oak logs in Lumbridge. I can do that. Bake some bread in the Lumbridge kitchen range. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, we can get Lumbridge Easy Diary done. I didn't even think about that. I can only do that once per cycle, so I will not be climbing it again, but it was a worthy usage. Let me go ahead and mark it complete here. If we get another genie to spawn, we'll get 80 agility XP. And even if I get nothing, if I don't get any XP randoms, just from doing the Lumbridge Swamp Cave, I think I'm guaranteed to get at least 5 XP. And since I get 120 XP from doing that course, next episode we'll get to agility 9. So soon we'll be 10. Just to recap why that was possible, I only had a clean Irrit Leaf from doing Sorceress's Garden, and I've done Sorceress's Garden a bunch of times and only got 2 Irrit Leaves total. So I have another one. I will probably try to keep it on me in case we get a Jekyll random, just to have another one. But this should last me all the way until agility 10, and then I won't need it until the next course that we unlock. There's a good chunk of other stuff to do that's interesting. There's Vampire Slayer. I can do Ernest the Chicken now, since I can actually get into Draynor Manor. And usually I like to start by doing everything in my newest chunk. I'm going to go kill this Highwayman really fast because that's new fashion. It drops a black cape guaranteed, and that can be our new cape from now on. And then normally I would just do all of this chunk right away, but I have a few other things that I want to work on. I need to get some stream work done, and the most AFK thing that I can possibly do right now is my shooting star. So I'm going to try to scout for a shooting star here and I'll come back once I get one, and we'll see how long I'm able to mine it while I get my stream work. Highwayman defeated. There's our first ever black cape, which is also a clue item. And looking really cool. I like that in combination with the pride crown. I'm thinking my next piece of headgear is going to be the reinforced goggles, but that's going to require that we roll the Falador farm chunk over here, which is, I think, my next most wanted chunk. Right, so I'm just going to head over to the bank here. I guess I'll head over to where the shooting star spawns, and I'm probably just going to hop for the next few hours. So I'll come off and record again if the shooting star falls and I'm able to mine it. With my brand new black pickaxe, which is extremely exciting. Let's go ahead and change this header to be that. Okay, I'll report in once I get a shooting star. Okay, so it's the next day, and I went ahead on my main account and I scouted all of these. Found out there's a way with the shooting stars plugin to set a custom password effectively for who you're sharing them with. So I was able to set that, and that means that it'll reduce the chance that somebody else will know about it unless if they scouted it themselves. It is 46 minutes until the first star could possibly fall, so I'm going to go back to doing these Draynor tasks. Alrighty, starting Vampire Slayer. Go ahead and add that garlic step to my task list too. I looked up the rewards for the Lumberjeezy Diary, which I'm going to do sometime this cycle. And one of them is a 2500 XP lamp for skill above level 30. I'm probably going to put that in Runecraft because it'll get me closer to 35 sooner. And I think I'm going to hit 30. I should hit level 30 today. Knocking out some rune crafting here because I just really like to finish that easy diary and get the ring. I did it again. The number of, I need to have a counter for the number of times I have forgotten my binding necklace. I think I'll still barely hit it with lava runes as long as I don't forget there, but it's going to be close now. Well, I'm going to go back to doing Draynor stuff. Alright, there's Vampire Slayer, 4,825 attack XP, which at this point is not even a full level. But that's okay, we had to do the quest, it's done now. Once Ernest the Chicken is done, we're going to have another 4 quest points. Yeah, so we'll be 5 away from Champions Quest, which is going to be really nice to just get access to the Champions Guild. I guess while I'm in Draynor Manor, I'll explore a little bit. It's got a quiz random. I'm going to open the box here. Bucket. Ernest the Chicken is such a weird quest. The whole thing with getting the poisoned fish food for the fountain outside to get a gauge. It's cool though, it all feels very I've described this before about RuneScape, but the quests feel like you're playing, an adventure designed by an amateur dungeon master. It's amazing. Alright, that's Ernest the Chicken. Not too bad. 300 coins. I really just wanted the quest points, that's the bigger deal. Yeah, so 5 quest points to go until we can access the Champions Guild, which is going to be very nice once it's possible. Now, I can technically go to the Kilowatt Plane, but I don't have a high enough Slayer level to do anything there. So I won't. Need to turn on highlighting all rats so I could see the rats. There are 2 apparently in Draynor Village. That's one of them. Go ahead and actually manually tag it, because I would like to actually complete this chunk. I should be able to. Oh, there's the other one in this house over here. Oh, wait, no. This one is the one that respawned. All right, chopping the trees, and I am not looking forward to picking 366 wheat, but fortunately I will not have to do it again after this. More trees you can't actually access. These 4, you can't reach them. All right, I finished the regular trees. I gotta do the dead trees and the wheat still, but my alarm just went off for shooting stars, so I'm on my way over there now. Hey, I'm actually here to witness a star falling. Let's see what the level is. It's not too high or too low. 60, okay. I'm gonna try to mine it with my main. Get it down to 40. Meanwhile, I'm gonna try to look for another one that might just be luckier and lower level. Just checking in. This is my main account and my group iron account. We got this thing down to almost level 50. I'm still hopping to the other worlds, but just trying to mine it down to 40 and then I'll click off it. Okay, perfect. It's now a level 40 star, and I'm just going to try to mine it as much as I possibly can. I'll check in a bit. Mining 45, I can now do granite. Yeah, if I roll the chunk. Alright, 46 mining. Still no one else has shown up to compete, so going pretty well at the moment. Almost done mining the entire tier 40 level, and the black pickaxe is helping a lot. Well, somebody else is here. I tried to ask them to leave and move to one of the other servers, but they're just not replying to me. Oh well, so much for getting a ton of XP out of this. At least I was able to mine almost all of tier 40 by myself. Holy crap, I got them to move. Thank you, Vexed. Appreciate that. God, somebody reported the star. Okay, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get too much more XP out of it. We'll see. There's mining 47. I just haven't been able to stop people from showing up. I think it might just be because it's in Mistalin. Also, it's a Saturday morning. If I'm going to do this, I should probably try to time it more for like a Monday or a Tuesday morning, like as early as possible. This is as close to Saturday morning prime time as possible. I think as soon as a single player walks past it and announces it to the CC, I'm hosed, basically. But I'm probably going to get a similar number of Stardust to that time that I was doing a level 31, so it could be worse. All right, it's done. I got 774 Stardust, which is better than the first time I did this, and started at a level 30 rock. Did take a really long time, though. We're now 2.5 hours into the cycle. I did get a bunch of stream work done, so that's nice. I think it's just too public of an area. Like, if I had a completed chunk in Tyrannon or something, where nobody would scout for a star, it would be fine, but there's enough people running past it that any one of them could report it to the Shooting Stars CC, and then I'm just screwed. But I think that 16k mining XP is pretty good. To be able to get that once per cycle compared to what I was getting previously, I probably shouldn't be complaining. I think I already have enough Stardust, or close to enough Stardust, to be able to buy the Celestial Ring once we roll that chunk, which isn't actually that far away. Celestial Ring would be huge for this account. It's actually kind of boring, like the extra charges you can put on it for a normal account. Who cares? It gives you a chance to roll an extra ore below adamant. Again, it would be nice if it was ruined for a normal account, but that would be amazing, and I would try to keep it charged all the time, and I would probably spend any excess Stardust on gem bags, because that would be pretty good crafting XP and a decent source of Dragonstone. So I'll continue to keep you all updated on how much Stardust I'm running with. I've got 1657, so I'm not quite there yet, but I think another cycle or so we should be able to get to 2000 for the ring. All right, well, now that I'm done with that was the big task for the cycle that I had to wait for. I'm going to get back to finishing the Draynor North chunk. Getting lots of trees that I can't get to. They're really, Jagex is interesting when it comes to these dead trees. They kind of just copy and paste them around in ways that make most of them inaccessible. All right, all of the trees are done. Now I just have to collect 366 wheat. And once I've done that, this chunk will be done, because technically the Portion of Interest quest starts in Draynor proper, not North Draynor. Alright, this is going to suck. This is pretty miserable. We're going to get it done, though. Almost there, and a few more trips. If you wanted to see what a full field of marked wheat looks like, this is it. It's 366 wheat. Okay, just confirming here in my bank comparison that there are 366 new grains in my bank compared to the end of chunk 30. And there are 366. Chunk complete. I'm going to update this to triple star. We can skip a lot of this in the future. I'll be still going to kill the goblins, the man and the woman. But I'll likely skip the highwaymen and the trees. And obviously we'll do the Draynor rooftop every time. Alright, so I'm going to get my suffering in here and chop the trees in Draynor manner. We knew it was like 100 plus trees just on the outer rim. I don't know how many of these I'm actually allowed to chop. It's not all 500, but I'm going to try to do a count here. So this is going to suck. Here we go. Alright, I'm doing the Draynor Village chopping. Got a beginner clue scroll from Beginner Nest, and it's the one in the patch of mushrooms northwest of Draynor that I can get to now, so that's quite nice. This is pretty awful, I gotta say, chopping these trees. I'm nowhere near done. I've done the perimeter outside, and now the inside is pretty slow. Gotta keep getting beginner clues. At least I finally got a casket this time. Going all around the game world. Steel longsword is at least worth a steel bar, but I had to use an iron bar to give to Charlie the Tramp anyway. I think on future cycles I might have to take advantage of fungibility to make this chunk make any sense. There are so many trees that are hard to get to. I'm doing my best, but it's This is about 10 times higher attention than chopping trees usually is, because I'm like having to try to time when I chop the tree, and if I misclick it, or if I click them in the wrong order, then one of them will respawn and I can't get to the one behind it because they're all just haphazardly pasted on top of each other. So my potential solution is to use this chunk as my count of how many trees I was actually able to get to. I should be able to do that. And then on future cycles, just come to Draynor Manor and chop that many logs, regardless of whether it's actually on each individual tree.
Hey folks, it's Future Marstead. I got a comment a couple episodes ago about the trees in Draynor Manor and overlapping dead trees and how it's sometimes possible to still chop one of them by right-clicking on them. So here's a screenshot of what the right-click menu sometimes looks like. Now this is dependent on right-clicking on the exact correct pixel where both of the trees overlap, which is often not very easy to find. If you go check this out yourself in RuneLite, you'll notice that the Entity Highlighter plugin, the thing that causes it to be outlined in blue like that, doesn't work. Like, it'll only ever highlight one of the two trees, even if you are right-clicking them like this. And while it becomes possible to chop one of the two trees can still be blocked from being marked with object markers. So I would have to mentally just remember that I chopped the second tree since I can't physically object mark it. So I talked a bunch about fungibility already back in like episode 14 if you want to go back and review that ramble. The short version is that after this cycle, I'm probably just going to count the number of trees in this chunk and make sure I chop that number of logs. Otherwise, I'm just suffering off camera for no reason for the same end result. All right, let's get back to Draynor Manor.
Because if I tried to do this every single cycle, I would get wildly different numbers every time based on whether I'm actually chopping the trees that are copy pasted on top of each other haphazardly, right? It's all right. There's a couple other places where I'm forced to use fungibility. Like, that's still a thing in the Stronghold of Security. You know, you get aggroed constantly by the incorrect monster, and so you kind of just have to go in the room and say, I'm gonna kill 26 Catablepins, right? If that means I end up killing the same Catablepin a few times, that's just kind of a natural result of the janky aggro mechanics in RuneScape. Okay, I think I'm done. You'll be able to pick out some trees that aren't highlighted here, but that's because I can't get to them because they're blocked by other trees. It looks like it's about 401 actual trees here. I'm just going to make that as a note. And that's like spending a lot of time. Here's a live split timer, and this has mostly been working on this specifically. This is bad. This is not good. I am okay to deal with the bad chunk and chop, 401 trees every cycle. And if they were like placed reasonably, if it wasn't Jagex just copy pasting them on top of each other, I would even just kind of walk through the garden and hit them all. But I think next time I come here, I'm going to try to find a spot that I can just stand in one place and click constantly between a handful of respawning trees, because otherwise there's no guarantee that I'll be able to do 401 trees next time. So anyway, that's Draynor Manor. The dead trees are done. I can almost complete this chunk except for animal magnetism, and I'm not going to be able to do animal magnetism for a long time. We need some chunks in Mauritania. This one's not going to happen anytime soon, sadly, so I am going to have to do this every cycle for a long time now. All right, it's so nice to have this Draynor chunk because there's like 2 more hot and cold steps I can do as a result. All right, got another casket. What we get? Nothing. This game is just like dumping beginner clues on me while I'm chopping these trees. Got another casket here. Okay. Fortunately, I already bought a fire staff, but that's slightly less bad. Actually trying to decide now if I want to skip beginner clues from now on. The main reason to do them before was for the black axe and the black pickaxe, because I have the black pickaxe and I have a mithril axe. There's not really anything else on the drop table that matters. Small rune drops, mostly garbage weapons and armor. The black item table doesn't matter because none of it's better than my current gear. And the uniques, I'll show you the uniques here. Don't care about any of these. The monk's robe top and bottom are technically better than the shade robes that I have, but only slightly. Not better enough to be worth the effort. I don't think I really need the amulet of defense. and the ornament kits aren't going to do me any favors. So I think it made sense to continue to derail constantly to do beginner clues back when I had a chance of getting a black axe or a black pickaxe, but I don't think that that's relevant anymore. And so we'll call 30 a good stopping point. Just right now, it's a huge distraction. It takes so much time for me to drop whatever I'm doing to go quickly knock out a clue. I will continue to try to do easy clues. My lifetime beginner clue taken, 30 beginner clues, not so great. I think the most impactful thing we ever got were these law runes. I might revisit this once our percentage chance to complete a beginner clue goes up. Right now it's like 65%. Oh wait, no, it's 41% to complete. We have access to 65% of steps, but 41% chance to complete the clue. If that ever becomes 100%, I would go for it, because I feel like that's the big issue, is that I'll do the first 2 steps, and that takes a bunch of time. And then once I'm done doing the first 2 steps, the 3rd step will be impossible and I'll have just wasted my time, right? I'm popping to get this level up really quick. Runecraft level 30. Now I can go ahead and finish up the Easy Lumbridge Diary just so I can use the lamp on it. My reason for doing that is I'm about to wood cut the Lumbridge chunk, and one of the things I have to do is cut a log and then burn it, so may as well. Wondering if I should just try to do fire making for the rest of this cycle. It's so much slower than fletching, but I do need more XP for it. I might try to hold out on fire making to like just use banked logs, right? All right, there's one task. I just have to cook the bread dough. Hopefully I don't burn it. There it is. You've completed all the easy tasks. Sweet. All right, I've completed all the easy tasks in my Lumbridge Diary. Yes, please. Okay, here's your ring. Does have +1 prayer, which is cool. So this will be my best in slot ring for a long time. The low-level alchemy might be something that I should try to start doing. I can get more money from that than selling things to the general store. Normally, you wouldn't bother with that because you would just high alch stuff, but I might be able to get some value out of it. All right, I'm going to pop this lamp on Runecraft. It would probably be best to save it for agility, but it's going to be so long until I'm 30 agility, I'd rather try to get 35 Runecraft sooner. 25 Runecraft XP gets us into 31, close to 32. 26 fire making. I don't know if I want to keep announcing those, because I'm going to get a lot of them here if I'm burning every regular log. I'll probably bail on this at some point, because it's ridiculously slow. 27 fire making. Fire making 28. All right, here comes 29 fire making. Here comes 67 wood cutting. Nice. 30 fire making. There it is. Here at Soul Wars to do wood cutting, but it looks like a game's about to start, so I'm going to try to gear up for it real fast. Okay, first game was a loss, 27 zeal. Not super great. Just hit 60 hit points. It's an exciting threshold. Got it in Soul Wars of all places. Alright, so I got 48 zeal. That'll be enough for this cycle. I'm at 146. I would be at 120 if I could get exactly 60. Hey, was out here getting my 6 moss giant kills really quick just because I can actually finish this chunk. And I got a mossy key drop, so we can do Bryophyta for the first time. That's actually extremely exciting. Very excited to finally have a mossy key. That's potentially really impactful for the account, depending on what we get from Bryophyta. I'm probably going to go try that immediately after finishing chopping the trees here. Alright, so I plan to go do Bryophyta right away. Basically, anything she drops that's not a seed would be a huge upgrade for me. Like, every rune item and the item in plate body would be an upgrade. I need to get better food, though, so I'm going to make some potatoes with cheese. I'm going to burn through a lot of my banked cheese, but I feel like I have to. Yeah, this is definitely going to be fun. I've never churned butter before. Holy crap, it's like 12 seconds per pat of butter. Alright, well, I'm gonna step away then. So I only have 21 cheese lifetime. I could make some more with my milk, but I'm just going to make this many and I'll bring some other foods with me. Hopefully I'm not going to use all of them in the kill, but we'll see. Okay, so my first ever inventory of potatoes with cheese. I'm going to go ahead and gear up for Bryophyta. We'll see how this goes here. Alright, I've never done this boss at such low combat stats. I think it's going to be fine. I think I'm probably overestimating how difficult that's going to be. Okay, first ever Bryophyta attempt. Here we go. Oh, that whole thing was off mute. Okay. Not a great job. Not a great drop. 5 uncut diamonds, big bones, and beginner clue scroll. And I guess 5 uncut rubies. My heart is beating out of my chest. I almost ran out of resources there. That was way harder than I was anticipating. I got 1 KC though. That's kind of cool. Might be one of the least useful drops I could have possibly gotten from her. Let me take a look here. Yeah, it's like a 1 in 30. I would have happily taken any of these rune drops, preferably the rune long sword or the rune sword, obviously. That's okay though. We got the kill. Got some first ever combat achievement, so that's kind of neat. Hey, it's my second ever maze on this account. Let's go. All right, not quite as amazing as the last one, but 123 death runes, 185 steel arrows, pretty good, and 12 nature runes. I will take it. Had a commenter recently point out maze random rewards are based on your total level, so I think that means I should definitely try to get my fire making up, probably at least to 50, just to maximize my total level, because that's kind of a lot of pending XP that I'm not earning right now. I might even go into my bank and try to burn a bunch of my normal logs, because I basically have no other use for them. They're kind of just sitting there, almost 3,000 of them. We'll see. I think I would rather do that than try to burn logs on the field, because that's so much slower than fletching them. Okay, finally mercifully done with woodcutting for this cycle. 53.8k woodcutting XP this time around. Live split timers at 10.5 hours. So now we got all the PVM stuff to do. No, I said I wasn't going to do more beginner clues, but this is a one-stepper and it was right near where I was, so. Basically 6 nature runes, okay. It's got a range level up, range 49. That gets us a max hit increase, which is really nice. And I can keep going until like 55. I need to get my range high enough that I can use it for Bryophyta in the future, because I can't. That melee kill was incredibly scuffed. I need to be able to like flick protect from magic or something, because trying to stand in melee range it was a nightmare. So I'm gonna try to do as much range training as I possibly can. Currently working on low level PVM stuff, but I'm gonna go ahead and do a construction run. All right, first trip is done. We will get 40 construction this cycle, but I need to do at least 2 more trips to do that. Coming up on level 50 ranged. There it is, very nice. About to hit 51 ranged. I think I can probably switch to bronze arrows and have the same max hit, which I might do to try to conserve these. Should be hitting Slayer 22 here. Yep, there it is. Now kill desert lizards, which might actually matter. There's a couple chunks that we could roll where that would be relevant. I have 14 hill giants remaining in my task, but I'm only going to have like 12 remaining in this cycle. So next cycle, I'm probably going to come here immediately before doing anything else and just kill the 2 hill giants to finish out the task, just in case we get assigned something else, you know. I just had a thunderstorm cause a disconnect there. I'll be back in a bit. Hey, so actually I've been stuck on this screen. I might have to restart RuneLight. So just to kind of summarize the XP tracker, because I'm going to lose this. 54k woodcutting XP, 33k ranged XP, 18.2k mining XP. That's from Shooting Star primarily. These are the rest of the XP totals. This attack XP is from Vampire Slayer. And actually I already lost the 120 XP from... I had a RuneLight issue right after doing the Draynor agility course and made me lose the extra 120, so that should be 127. But this will all get wiped out when I give my summary. I'm missing some of this detail. Hey folks, it's Wednesday morning after the update, so I've lost all of my existing tasks and the XP tracker. I'm going to do my best to recreate it based on the loot tracker, which is still updated. Now, because I had that power outage, it looks like I actually lost kills, which is the first time that's happened, and I don't think there's anything I can do to fix that, unfortunately. About to hit range 52. There it is, ranged 52. Let's see, skeleton, sepulcher, nothing. 2 big bones. Just hit strength 64, 5 to go. Just completed Stronghold of Security, and oh my goodness, look at the Onkos. Like, I really want the mithril ores, that's why I'm fighting them. I guess the runes too, but I got 6 left skull halves. I think I'm going to be set on teleport charges forever. That's like 30 teleport charges from a single cycle. Absolutely insane. All right, here comes construction 40. Yeah. Can now build a study. Teak bed, mahogany bookcase, stash chart, opulent curtains, oak lectern is the one that I can build now. That is good. It's like a technically boosted the costume room now, which is kind of neat. All right, study added. That was really expensive. This is all the money I have left, so it's gonna take me a while to build up enough savings to build another room like the chapel. Yeah, I just built the oak lectern. I think it only lets you make sapphire enchant tabs, which are useless, and Varrock teleport tabs, which could be useful, but I won't be using for some time. Fishing level 30. Pretty one fishing. Pretty good luck so far in terms of these not depleting. We just made smoke runes. 54 XP to 32 runecraft. We might hit 35 naturally without getting any other chunk unlocks, which would be kind of nice. Hey, I just got my first ever red berry seeds from a mammoth. I can actually plant those for some farming XP. I have a decent amount of seeds now for different patches. I was still waiting to even bother with farming again until I get the secateurs, and I think that's going to continue to be my plan, because if I can baby a couple of the acorns that I've collected so far and get a bunch of farming XP, it'll decrease the chance that future plants I use get diseased. Oh my god, a genie while I was talking. Hell yeah, I'm just gonna hold on to that to the next cycle. Yeah, because I'm going to get 120 XP from Draynor Agility course next cycle. Anyway, sorry, the genie distracted me. My thought on trying to save my seeds until I can plant the trees is that the higher my farming level is, the lower the chance of disease and the more harvest lives I can get. So potentially the more XP I can extract out of my limited seeds. And you get a fixed amount of XP from tree seeds, so I may as well use the fixed amount of XP first. So I just died. Never died with a lamp on me before. I hope it didn't get destroyed. I just ran out of prayer and couldn't get out in time, and I got aggroed by multiple mammoths at the same time. Really hoping I didn't lose anything there. I'm going to be super bummed if I did. Thank God I was able to get the lamp back. I was really worried it was going to be destroyed. I was about to be super sad. Okie dokie, we're here at Giant's Foundry. It's the end of the cycle. Just picked up my bucket. I'm going to go ahead and make whatever I can make with the stuff that I have in the bank. I went ahead and made a Giant's Foundry bank tab, make it easier for me to keep track of all of this. Here's our first sword hand in. 5,000 smithing XP, 10,000 coins. Yeah, I got a really good mold on that one though, so that's the big reason for it. All right, second sword turn in, 4980 smithing XP and almost about 10k coins. Yeah, this is going pretty well. Yeah, not the best mold that time. 4,200 smithing XP, 8,400 coins, and we're now 56 smithing. Narrow heavy for next time. I can make mithril long swords, mithril crossbow limbs, mithril javelin heads. Okay. Next one's pretty good. Narrow heavy, 2224. All right, can't do it though. I don't have enough resources. I am going to go ahead and do another trip to do some construction training, because I always forget to do that at the end of the cycle here. Okay, I think that's actually the only trip I'm going to do. I can only do like 5 more regular planks. I don't think that's worth the law rune. So I'm just going to teleport home and we'll summarize the chunk. All right, let's actually start with the live split timer this time. I'm going to go ahead and pause it because I'm worried I'm going to lose the information here. I might have to take a break in a second. Live split timer though, 19 hours and almost 30 minutes, so took quite a bit longer than last attempt. Go through the task list and other stuff here in a moment. Okay, I'm back. I had to take a short break, but let's go ahead and summarize the chunk and roll a new chunk. Start with tasks first. Let's do a slow scroll here. Be able to do more of Draynor Manor this time. Didn't make any dust runes. I didn't get any air talisman. Well, I got one air talisman, but I use it on smoke runes. Killed Bryophyta for the first time, which is cool. Very scuffed kill. I'm trying to train range as much as possible so that it doesn't have to be so scuffed next time. See, we did the agility course in South Draynor, which I don't presently have a... Oh, I guess it's North Draynor. Never mind, we're good. Didn't do mist runes at the water altar. Again, no extra air talismans. that's that. Here's the loot tracker. I have a couple notes on this one. The main one is that I lost those 7 skeletons due to the power outage. I killed some extra goblins by mistake. There should be 138, and I killed 2 extra ones. It was while I was working on cows. I was just accidentally clicking on them, or maybe it was chickens. But anyway, I accidentally clicked a couple goblins, and they died in 1 hit, so I wasn't able to click off of them. So I'll just make up for that in a future cycle. It shouldn't be that big of a deal because there's already goblins that I'm skipping in the Stronghold of Security, but those guys have a different drop table than the 2 extra ones I killed here, so I'll just skip some of the ones in the Ham Hideout chunk. Alright. Got a lamp on me that I'm going to use as soon as we get an agility level at the start of the next cycle. New stuff, though. I still have the agility potion up here. I'm going to keep the strange device up here. Everything else will be new. So we had the steak, which you used up, garlic, the key, explorer's ring, which I've been able to use that energy refill a couple times, which is nice. Got a willow seed from a bird nest, which we will be able to use. I'm still waiting on a secator before I touch a pair of secators before I touch farming training again. The black cape, which is my new seasonal cape, so to speak. I'll be wearing this until we get another one. Mossy key that we already used. I made an extra anti-poison that I didn't use. Still have a little bit of defense potion left. And a few potatoes with butter, potato with cheese, and this bronze kite shield that I used in the Giant's Foundry. I'm going to do a slow scroll of the bank, and then I'm going to do a bank compare here. Looking pretty nice. All right, bank compare. All right, here's the comparison. Still ahead on Law Runes, despite all the ones I used for construction training, so that's good to see. Ahead on Pure Essence, although it's easy for me to make a deficit now if I get enough talismans. Used up all my cheese, which maybe isn't great. I could make a little bit more if I start using buckets of milk for that, but making those cheesy potatoes is going to be rough. Hopefully I get a better, big healing food for boss fights in the future. Down 149 bronze arrows from training and 551 iron arrows from training. So if we compare that to the supplies, I actually fired 3,000 iron arrows and 700 bronze arrows, so I'm definitely picking them all up. Not too much choice. Sorry, I'll go back to scrolling here. We're all looking pretty good, I think. We are net way down on coins, and that's because of spending 50k on the study and the POH. I think the next big coin cost is going to be the chapel, once I'm able to boost to it, which I think is still a couple cycles away. XP, the XP tracker is completely wrong this time, or it doesn't represent all the XP we actually earned because we had an update in the middle of the week, and I had a couple power outages from storms in the area that made me lose data here. But some of the XP gains. 42 construction is the magic number we're looking forward to. Then I'll be able to build a chapel and offer big bones in my house. Thieving 38 is still a long ways to go. Mining 55 is a long ways to go. We basically have to double the amount of mining XP we've gotten to date. The one shooting star is helping a lot with it, but it can only do so much. I guess more focusing on the other skills here. Like I said, farming, I'm going to wait till I get a pair of secators, and then I'm going to start going back to doing farming runs every cycle. We're going to kill 2 more hill giants for Slayer next cycle. And then I'm going to try to get a new Slayer task. So I think next cycle I'm going to explore whatever the new chunk is. I'm going to go ahead and immediately do the agility course in Draynor so that I can ding level 9 so that I can use this lamp. And then we'll go kill a couple of hill giants and see what the next Slayer task is before I burn anything else. 35 is the number we want for Runecraft, but that's still 5 or 6 cycles away, I think, unless if we get a surprise influx of it. And I don't think there are any other terribly exciting level ups. I'm going to stay on ranged. I said 55. I was going to keep it the same level behind strength as attack, but I think I'm actually going to take it to 60 for future Bryophyta and or Obor kills. I tabbed to it earlier, but I didn't spend a ton of time on it. This is the supplies used, 7 law runes, good amount of teleport jewelry. This isn't perfect at tracking teleport jewelry charges. It might only work from the inventory. If I have it equipped, I don't think it does anything, so I maybe want to keep an eye on that if I want to get more accurate results here. Random event list, we got that Lucky Genie while we were finishing up Mammoths. But other than that, nothing too exciting. I might start carrying my one other clean Irrit leaf with me in the hopes of getting another agility potion. Because I'm only going to need, I think, 2 doses of this for the Draynor agility curse before I can just do it without boosting. I'm going to want to have more doses for future activities, namely the Alcarid course and later the Varrock course, so I might just give up an inventory space to that. Total time played, 12 days, 12 hours. I kind of want to, once we get to like 500 hours played, I want to compare where we are stats-wise and like bank-wise to where I was in my blind playthrough at 500 hours. I should be able to figure that out since I always had the live split timer running. So I'll try to remember to do that. We still have a ways to go to 500 hours though. Notably, we have 27 quest points now, so pretty close to being able to do both Last Man Standing and the Champions Guild, Dragon Slayer 1. So I'm hoping we'll get some chunks with quests soon. But I think that's everything there is to summarize. Let's go ahead and pop over to the chunk picker. All right, folks, here's the chunk picker. Just have it all the way zoomed out to show you that there's still these 2 spots in the Isle of Souls. There's Castle Wars and there's the Ruins of Unka, but I'll zoom in on the main area here. No significant changes other than we can now get the South Thalador farm, which I put as a silver star. I want it as much as the Ruins of Unka, maybe slightly more. I would say this is my number 2. This guy is still my number 1. I really want to do the Into the Abyss mini quest. We get access to all the altars. It'll let us do the Runecraft mini game that's new. It'll unlock What Lies Below, which lets us finish this chunk. It would be really, really good. I want this one the most. But South Thalador Farm would be awesome because it would let us do actual farming, useful things, and it would let us finish Portion of Interest, which would be a really big deal. And it actually gets us closer to getting inside of Thalador. Let's go ahead and pick the chunk here. Big money. There's a lot of thumbs down chunks that I really don't want, so I'm hoping for something good here. Please. That's a reroll chunk, so it's not a big deal. There are dead trees here, though, so I'm going to have to go chop those trees. I'm actually just going to do that now, rather than at the beginning of the next episode. So I'm going to pop over there. The only thing to do is to chop 47 dead trees, and then we can roll another chunk, since there's nothing else new here. I guess a reminder on the rules, if you haven't been following the whole series, if I get a chunk that just has stuff that I've done before and nothing new at all, no quests, no new NPCs, no new monsters to kill, etc., I can go there and complete the chunk without rolling a bonfire, and then roll another one. That's what the dice icon means. I'll go ahead and just cast Varrock Teleport, because why not? This is an extremely silly chunk boundary. Just 2 little bits of wilderness ditch that I don't even think you can get to because of that tree. It's weird that they ended it there instead of here. But yeah, let's go ahead and cross the fog wall into the fog. Cool. All right, let me just chop these trees real quick and we'll roll again. This is amusing. There are trees up here, but you can't actually climb up there. That's so strange. Really glad to see that, like the Ferox Enclave, they just made ornamental trees. They don't actually have them be choppable. Nothing really up in this corner here. It's too bad those rocks aren't limestone. Back to chopping. I don't think I've ever seen that examine text. If you examine the wilderness sign, stop examining signs, you're in the wilderness. I don't think I appreciated how close this is to the Slayer Tower. Just imagine there's a big space between here and Mauritania. Alright, so that was this episode of trees no one has ever chopped before. It ended up being 45 trees, and I can't actually get to the 3 that are up there, but that's everybody. So let's go ahead and roll another chunk. I'm going to mark that one complete. 32 is done. Victory achieved. Alright, I'm just going to chill here and roll the next chunk. All right, back in the chunk roller, the only thing that added here, we have to remove the Slayer Tower because I can't actually get to that chunk. It did add this chunk, though, which is literally empty. Doesn't even have any trees in it. There is nothing there. We will go in there and then say it's complete and roll again if we get it. But I'll go ahead and put the little dice icon there. But nothing else really to summarize. Let's just go ahead and roll the picker again. Come on, big money. Give me that Into the Abyss chunk. Oh, nice. Okay. Ruins of Unka. Fantastic. Let's just review what we expect there. The big thing is fishing. Let me kill the little star here. There are 4 crocodiles, 6 scorpions, and 4 seagulls. Okay, not a big deal. Access to Temporos, sort of. I think I need to roll the boat in order to get Temporos, which is now a rollable chunk. So we'll revisit that later. Item spawns, by far the most important thing is the fishing rod. But I guess also a harpoon and a lobster pot. So I should be able to do most fishing tasks that were previously blocked. There's also a fish store, which I think lets me buy every other fishing tool I could possibly need, along with a ton of feathers. Features, there's a bunch of mining nodes here. There's a coal rock, a copper rock, 5 iron rocks, 2 silver rocks, and a tin rock. I might actually be able to complete this chunk, which would be good because it would be my first significant shop that I have access to, that I would be able to refresh the stock every time I start a new cycle. So if I finally have a shop that refreshes, it might change a few things. Specifically, being able to buy out the feathers. I can start combining those with all of those arrow shafts I have in the bank. So yeah, this is a really good chunk unlock. The chunk itself isn't terribly exciting. The thing that really matters is what this chunk unlocks elsewhere. There's a whole bunch of fishing nodes that I'm going to have to figure out and add elsewhere now that I'm going to be able to do them. I think it might even let us complete a couple chunks. Like we might be able to complete Barbarian Village because we should be able to fish for trout and salmon now. But I'll confirm that. This is one of the ones that's been on the board for a really long time. I'm glad to have finally rolled it. Don't really know what to think about the stuff around it. I guess the Desert Quarry would be huge if we could get sand. And there's actually a bunch of nodes there, so it would also be a decent amount of mining XP just from like doing the granite and the sandstone. So we'll talk about that though next time we get to the junk picker. Thanks folks for watching. I'll see you next episode in the Ruins of Unka. Bye.